Terror is my favorite hardcore band. They, in my opinion, are the best all-out hardcore band. Scott Vogel is my favorite vocalist in hardcore, and Terror is easily the band that I think encapsulates what hardcore means to me. I've been a little nervous to make this video because this album is so important to me. I have a lot of memories attached to this specific record, and so we're going to talk today about Terror and their 2003 release, Lowest of the Low. It came out on Bridge 9 Records on October the 13th of that year. It's 9 songs and a smoking 16 and a half minutes. Dude, this album comes in, gets its job done, and then leaves, man. I remember I remember listening to this at Circuit City in the home like audio department, and then in a car audio department to demonstrate like people that liked heavy music, and I sold probably 10 copies of it doing that. I met one of my very good friends, B Rich, listening to this at that same exact Circuit City, who went to every hardcore show with me. That's my dog, man. And so this album has a lot of meaning to me. There are going to be certain biases that come along with that, but I think anybody that listens to what I'm about to say can reasonably say and agree that this album is a perfect hardcore album. Maybe not the, but a. We're talking subjective here. So, I mean, you don't have to agree with me, and most of you might not. But I think that they're one of the bands that get the most people piled into venues at these fests, but they also, for some reason, get like the most amount of snubs. I mean, how does Knocked Loose have like 1 million people on Spotify and Terror has 140,000? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And no snub on Knocked Loose, dude. That band's fire. Terror formed in 2002 in Los Angeles, California. The second band that I know of, fronted by Scott Vogel. He had a lot to live up to, though, because his former band was the revered Buried Alive, a band not unlike Terror. So with the new project, Scott and company had to write quality music that would stand the test of time, or people would just write them off as the weaker of the two projects, and they would just go revisit their old Buried Alive records, and Terror would fade into obscurity. And that's, he clearly didn't want that to happen, because this is their first release and their first official, like, they might have had a single come out before that or something. I don't recall that happening, but this album came out and it blew people's minds. It blew my mind, because Buried Alive is good, but this is like the best of Buried Alive, but with better recording quality, in my personal opinion. Blistering fast and perfectly blending the anger, the urgency of punk rock with the heaviness of metal. Like I said, Lowest of the Low is a perfect hardcore record. This album's amazing top to bottom. The lyrics are full of rage and pain. There are meaningful and relatable sing-along choruses. There's super catchy two-step rhythm parts. And of course, this album is chock full of breakdowns. I love the breakdowns on this album. We've got mid-pace breakdowns. We've got a couple of slower ones, but this record is fast. It is angry. It is pissed off. There's pain dripping through every single word that he wrote. Every lyric that is yelled into that microphone is meant for you to hear and have just a primal reaction to, okay? As I said a moment ago, in relation to the recording quality, it stuck out to me as a good thing. I thought it was way better than the Buried Alive stuff that I had heard from them, okay, or from Scott. But the later albums from Terror, and most hardcore bands at that, and their entire catalogs, they're a little slick. They're too clean. They're almost robotic. They don't have that human feel to them. This record is the exact point. I don't know very many albums that sound this good to me. This is the production that I personally like. I would love to know what you think about the production of this album. I'm sure they've remastered it by now. It's 20 years old, which I think is absolutely insane. It's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. I want to celebrate 20 years of Lowest of the Low. Honestly, every song on this record smacks, dude. Everything on this record is a good song. But I don't know that I've ever had an album start as strong as this. This thing comes in and it'll kick your teeth out, man. I found it very fitting that Human Furnace from Ringworm did vocals on this album, because there's a song on here, I think it's song 2, called I Don't Need Your Help. It has a bridge and a guitar lead, like solo, that sounds like it could have been taken straight off an old Integrity or Ringworm record. It's super early 2000s Cleveland, man. But this album means a lot to me, and I would like to have more people speak up on his behalf. I'd like to hear more people tell you, when you ask them, hey, what's a good hardcore band, to point at this record. This album, 2003, dude, this started it, man. I would like to say that between this and, let me check the date. Hold on. Hatebreed's early stuff, too. I think Rise of Brutality came out around this time. Yeah, The Rise of Brutality also came out in 2003. And so, like, with this record and The Rise of Brutality, hardcore put its stamp on heavy music. We had a new genre that people could look forward to. People could dig around and hear bands like Judge and Earth Crisis that they would have never heard. Punk rock fans like myself could get into a new genre and appreciate it because of this album so perfectly melding the two genres together. I mean, there's very few hardcore records that I've ever heard that put this much punk rock into such an angry, heavy sound. And that's what caught my attention. So the whole album is great, man. It goes by really fast, but there are a few high points in the record. The album starts off with Better Off Without You. If you don't like that song and you claim to like hardcore, explain it to me, please. Then we have, yeah, Don't Need Your Help is number 2. Excellent song with a great breakdown and lead guitar, like solos type thing, which is a little different than what they were doing on this record. And then we have Push It Away, which is personally probably my favorite Terror song of all time, where he screams, I walk alone among my enemies. Push it away! I walk alone among my enemies! Like, I just can't get enough of that song, and it's got my personal favorite Terror breakdown. I am alone, no regret, nothing. You gotta push it away. Don't take the fuck away from me. No regret, no shame. Nothing but so, yeah. Terror, lowest of the low, is celebrating 20 years of existence this year. Go out and appreciate it. Go check it out on Spotify. Go follow them on Spotify. If you're a punk rocker, a hardcore kid, or a metalhead, go check it out. Tell me what you think in the comments. This album needs to be celebrated and not forgotten. Terror, lowest of the low. 20 years old in 2023, man. Shout out to Scott Vogel. I don't know if you'd ever remember me, but I talked and hung out with him a whole bunch of times way back in the day. And, you know, I think that lends it itself to why I love this band and this record so much, because he was just a really nice person to me. So yeah, if he sees this, man, what up, dog? If you want to do the podcast, let me know. I would love to have you on, bro. Anyways, man, thank you so much for hanging out. If you like the video, please give us a like and a subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. And yeah, I'm working really hard. So have a nice day. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.